Redefining success. Hang on, what did I say? Redefining success? Do we actually know how to define success in the first place? If we know, are we happy with this definition? Is it well and truly ours? I'm going to ask all of you a question. People sitting here and joining us remotely. Is there anyone who can raise their hand confidently and say, yes, I can define success for myself, and I'm happy with that definition? Is there anyone? Silence says it all, right? There is not a single definition of success. We all know that, right? But most importantly, most of us have not been able to define success properly, let alone redefine. So let's try to make an attempt. Let's try to define success in a way that we can actually live with it, work towards it, and then be able to say, yes, it's well and truly mine. If I look around, I see most of us consider success as a checklist. We treat success as if we are playing a game. And if you think about the game, you are collecting different items on your way to success, and you're unlocking achievements, pretty much, isn't it? The game actually tells us how we are going to collect these items on our way to success. And if you look at it, it's the job, if it's the career, you get through the degrees, you go through the job, wedding, family, kids, house, retirement, it's pretty much all set, right? There are society benchmarks. There are benchmark that each society has put in place. These are invisible timers that tells us exactly how we do and how we achieve certain things and in which order. Let me tell you my story. When I was born, my benchmark clocks were already set. I was born in a family surrounded by bankers. My dad was also a bank manager. So senior citizens, people around me, especially the grannies and everyone, they called me Manager 2.0. And they actually celebrated as here comes our Manager 2.0. Because what they were watching around was successful bankers proceeding towards their pathways. Now, my dad was working days and nights, working really hard, going through the struggles, right? And then he progressed to a senior vice president while I was in the high school. So all of the senior citizens and everyone else looking at his success, they wanted me to follow his trajectory. But on the other hand, my dad, been through a struggle, years of a struggle and pain, he looked at me one day and said, I don't really want you to be a banker. Think about something else. You are certainly not following this profession. That was kind of a relief for me because I wanted to be a doctor. But again, talking about the society benchmarks and the impact, I was surrounded by people who had failed miserably in that field. So I was scared. I was worried. They couldn't even get to a medical degree because of obviously the complications and the process involved. So I was worried. I didn't really want to go down that path either. So what I chose was the safest that was available to me at that time, and that was engineering. I regret it now, though, because of AI. So moving forward, I graduated, got the degree, got the job, and by that time, I had roughly around 15 items on my success checklist. I have been able to tick a few of those, of course, getting through the degree and the job and everything. I was trying to evaluate myself. Is this the success that I was working towards? Is this what I was aiming for, hoping for? I didn't get any answer. So I thought maybe it's too early for me to ask this question. I decided to tick a few more boxes. Fast forward, I got married, moved to Australia. But when I moved to Australia, the checklist, although I was able to tick a few boxes, it was already grown to another 10 or 15 more items, right? Again, I evaluated myself, looking at the checklist. Is this the success that I was hoping for? Is this the success that I defined myself and that I can actually call my version of success? The answer was yes, maybe. Maybe you need to try hard. Maybe you need to tick more boxes. The reality was that even if I was getting a smell of success, a little bit of feeling of success, it was very short-lived. It was very temporary. I was ticking a lot of boxes on my way, but I was feeling hollow from inside. There was no relief. It felt like I was running in circles again and again, ticking boxes, whether you think of a game or anything else. It was like running like a hamster on a wheel. I was ticking boxes, but I was running, depleting my energy without a clear direction. The reality is that we sacrifice our lives. We sacrifice our opportunities, our sleep, our relationships just on the altar of one day. You would have heard, one day I'll be able to finally present with my kids. I'll finally be able to travel around the world. I'll finally be able to call myself successful. Would you agree? Along the way, I realized that there are massive flaws with this checklist model as well. Because of the time, I'm only going to give you 3. The first one, it completely ignores the silent battles. Let me give you an example. If a tree falls in a forest, did anyone see it? Is it visible? Is it on the news? Probably not, right? Compared to a tree that falls on a house, causes devastation to the house, to the family. Is it visible? Yes, it's on the news. Everyone sees it. Success works like the same way. There are days, there are times where getting out of the bed is a huge success. But looking at the tree concept, if that tree falls in a forest, it's no less real, right? It still happens. So when you are going through mental health issues, physical health problems, and you get out of bed, show up, it's a huge success. Those silent goals are the goals that you are the only one who could consider yourself successful. No one else would be able to see those. Number 2, the checklist assumes that everyone wants the same thing: the career, the job, the degree, family, kids, house, you can call it. But we are not the same people. We are not the same people. So how can we expect the same checklist model to work? Some of us come alive in a room full of strangers, whereas some might be happy with a book alone in their room. There are, some people might be happy with a constant change. They need a constant change to feel motivated, compared to other people who might just need a little bit of stability to perform at their best. Number 3, comparison trap. This is one of the very important part of my speech. And you would agree that it has been harder than ever for us to define success for ourselves. And you know what? You know why? Because we are constantly bombarded with these tweets, LinkedIn posts, social reels, right? And imagine you're having a fun day outside with your family, with your kids, and all of a sudden you pick up your phone, scroll through your LinkedIn, scroll through your Twitter, Insta. What do you see? You see your next door neighbor bought a brand new Tesla. Your ex-colleague maybe launched a new company, maybe raised a Series A funding. So all of a sudden, the experience you were having compared to the experience you will be having after that, obviously you'll feel you're leaving behind. You're not working hard enough to be able to call yourself successful. You are looking at someone else's benchmarks, right? The reality is that we benchmark ourselves with celebrities, with someone else, while stuck on our desk. We let our industry, or let our social media define what really matters for me, what really matters for us. It's literally like you go to a restaurant and let someone else order food for you, right? When the food comes, obviously, if you're not going to like it. Enough of whinging about the checklist model. Now you might ask, Faisal, we know the checklist model is broken. We know there are flaws. What do we do? How do we fix it? Now, I don't have a comprehensive framework for you to follow, but what I do have are 3 steps that you can take tonight These steps are foundational steps that you can take tonight or now to be able to at least start with your journey, at least start defining your success and be able to call it yours. Number one, audit your goal. Notice that it's not define your goal, it's audit your goal. Take a deep, hard look at your goals. Brutally evaluate, where are these goals coming from? Are these goals really, truly mine, or are they being inspired by a social media, by a LinkedIn, or by any other forum? If the goals does not give you any peace, any comfort, get rid of those. They don't belong to your menu. Number two, celebrate your silent wins, invisible wins. Remember that analogy that I gave a few minutes ago about the tree? I think we should all start rewarding ourselves for invisible stuff, stuff that's not Instagrammable. Remember, success doesn't have to be huge. Success can be a time where you actually, feeling happy with your kids, feeling okay with your kids while you're exhausted. Success could be a day where you have been through a medical issues or health issues, but you still showed up. You got out of the bed, right? That's still success. Success could be saying no to a project meeting or a high-profile job or a high-profile project, because obviously it's going to cost you your integrity or your work-life balance. Number three, it's to define your enough. Now, that's the hardest part for me, really, so far. And it's going to keep changing. It's really hard to make a static poll on what's enough for you. But the thing is, what I consider this world as all-you-can-eat menu. There is always more, never ends, right? But if you don't define what's enough for you, you will end up chasing more. You spend all of your life chasing for more. And more, my friends, I can tell you now, is a finish line that doesn't exist. That does not exist. Let me leave you with another message, another image. Instead of thinking like a ladder or a checklist, think of success as a home you're building. With ladder, you're always looking at someone else's feet or someone else's head, right? It's lonely. It's not productive. It's not productive. With the home, though, with the concept of home and assuming success as a home, you are in control. You know who to invite. You know what the furniture looks like, and you know what rooms really matter. My Manager 2.0 life was a skyscraper that someone else built for me. It might have been impressive from the outside, but it could have been miserable if I had to live in it, right? Moving to Australia, failing and then rediscovering things was me really trying to tear that skyscraper to build something that's small, maybe small, but meaningful, that actually belongs to me, that's actually mine. So for me, what I have been able to, and how I have been able to define success so far is really acknowledging, success for me is really acknowledging and celebrating your individual wins on the journey to success. The invisible ones and the visible ones, the ones that everyone says and the ones that you only know about. So here's my challenge for you. Scrap the checklist, throw away the checklist, don't look at someone else's reels or someone else's success. Just look at your own life, look at your own goals and ask yourself a question. If no one is watching and no one is judging, what would you actually write? What would you actually have on your menu? How would you actually define your success? When you go home tonight, make sure you spend some time, please spend some time to define or redefine success. Because if you don't define it, the world will define it for you, unfortunately. And they will set the bar an inch higher than you can actually reach. In the end, I'll say, we are all successful. We are just looking at the wrong places to validate it.